The Libertarian National Convention is kicking off this weekend, and two of the event's headline speakers are not even libertarian. But in a close presidential election, you'll take votes pretty much anywhere you can get them. Former President Donald Trump and independent candidate RFK Jr. are taking their feud to that convention in D.C. as they are trying to woo that group of free-thinking voters. In fact, RFK Jr. just took to the stage in the last hour, and he's been fighting tooth and nail for a chance to debate Trump, even challenging him to do so at this event, and he made sure to point that out in his remarks.
I'm curious to know how President Trump is going to defend his attacks on the Constitution when I meet him on the debating stage. I invited him to debate in front of you, in front of the members of this party, but he declined. At some point, I hope that he has the courage to stand up there so that we can all talk about these issues.
This all comes as polling shows that while RFK is still far behind Trump and Biden, there's a real chance he could play spoiler come November. And who better to talk about all of this than NewsNation political editor Chris Stirewalt on a Friday vacation day, no less. So great to see you. And Chris, let me ask you, what are you really watching for this weekend?
Well, I mean, this weekend, obviously, I'm going to be watching myself on the Hill Sunday with me at 10 a.m. Eastern. Obviously, this is no holiday weekend. We got to get to work. Look, RFK Jr. wants these voters, and they're a good fit for him in a lot of ways. Look, libertarians tend to be more conservative, or at least in favor of much less government intervention in the economy and in people's lives. And he's an environmental activist, so he's got a problem there. But what he does have is a deep skepticism about the government and sometimes an embrace of some conspiratorial-sounding ideas that also has the Venn diagram overlaps okay with those libertarians. So if he can motivate those voters, if he can get them engaged and that they're going to like him, what he needs is, look, libertarians have to run somebody. They got to put somebody up there. They're going to lose their ballot access for the next cycle. That you need to field a candidate in order to keep getting ballot access in these states. But if you're RFK, what you'd like is for the libertarians to put up some sacrificial lamb and have those voters, that share of voters, slide over in your direction.
Interesting. I mean, any chance you think that Donald Trump takes the bait and actually does debate RFK Jr. in any way this weekend?
I cannot imagine the circumstance that would, under which Donald Trump's advisors would ever allow him to debate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. I think it would be, Trump could only lose, right? Because Trump is, as the major party nominee, the floor of his support is what, 45%, 43%? He can't go much lower than that. RFK, the poll you showed had him in single digits, but most polling nationally brings him in at 12, 13, 14, 15%, which is flirting with the threshold that the networks have for participating in one of the debates, one of the two debates that Biden and Trump have both agreed to. He is a credible threat to Donald Trump. He also hurts Joe Biden, but he is a credible threat to Donald Trump. And if RFK Jr. gets into the viability point, Trump is going to have a tiger by the tail, and he's not going to know what to do with him. And I bet he will not want to debate RFK Jr. there, anywhere. As Trump would say, any place, anytime, anywhere, he's not going to want to debate RFK.
Nowhere, never. I hear you. Let me ask, libertarians, they seem to be at odds with the current Republican Party policy-wise, especially on issues like trade and immigration. Is this going to be a tough sell for Trump this weekend?
Well, Trump's a celebrity. You always have to root Trump's success politically in the fact that he was a host of The Celebrity Apprentice. He was the most famous billionaire in the country. He was this guy. He was this sort of famous New York real estate mogul playboy guy. And celebrity has a weird effect on people. So for the libertarians, they're going to be glad that Trump came because, or is speaking to them because he's going to bring attention to the Libertarian Party. And for the libertarians, they don't think they're going to win. But what they do want to do is raise the profile for their party, and they want to raise the profile for libertarianism generally. So yeah, there's not going to be as much crossover potentially between libertarians and Trump, but there is going to be he'll get a very warm reception because he wants some of their voters and they want all of his publicity.
Thanks so much for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.